Hey guys, I'm so excited to share this video with you, and before you freak out because it's so long, just give me a chance to explain. Recently, I hosted an event. I rented an auditorium, didn't know if anybody was going to show up, but we had over 500 girls in attendance, and it was called What Every Girl Needs to Hear, Life Beyond the Likes. I brought in two amazing guest speakers with me, and we put this whole night together, and we recorded it for you all who weren't able to be there in attendance. So please, please, please do yourself a favor, watch this thing, spend some time, invest in your future self. These guest speakers will blow your mind, and I've got something new that I've never shared before. It's not like a repeat of past years. You're gonna wanna watch this. Please stay tuned. Thanks so much.
Well, awesome. Well, as I said, my name is Amanda, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. And on behalf of Noah and Courtney and I, just thank you so much for being here. You know, it's beautiful outside. There's probably a million things you could be doing, but you chose to hang with us, and we're so stoked and so grateful for that. So we're glad that you're here. You know, I'm excited to learn together what it looks like to live life beyond the likes. And I'm thankful that Noah asked me to share my story, and I'm such a firm believer that we all have a story to share, and we can use our stories to encourage other people. And that's our hope for you guys tonight, that you're gonna leave here encouraged, and you're gonna walk out of here knowing how valuable you are. And so I wanna share my story with you. So what's my story? Well, my story is one of parents that were divorced when I was young. My story is one of not having a dad in my life when I grew up. And I could guess that maybe there are some of you in this room right now that can relate to that. And maybe there are some of you that can't, but I'm hoping that you're going to be encouraged by what I'm about to share. So when I was 6 years old, my parents divorced. I don't remember a lot leading up to that point, except that they fought all the time. Pretty bad fights. I remember being a little girl once, and they're just kind of in this crazy intense fight, and I run up and I try to separate them, and I think that maybe I can help, maybe I can make it better. But I was just a little kid, so they got divorced. And I stayed with my mom and my dad. I saw him like every other weekend and holidays, and that was kind of my new life. And to kind of give you a picture of that relationship, my dad was pretty verbally abusive, and it was just a tough situation. After they got divorced, my parents still fought, and it was just really, really difficult. I can remember times of police being called and locking myself in the bathroom crying, and I was just a little kid. And it's tough, and I think maybe some of you guys could relate to that. So fast forward a couple of years, my parents both got remarried, so all of a sudden I had a stepdad, and I had a stepmom, and step siblings, and to be honest with you, I was not stoked on that. It was another life change, another layer on top of what was already hard. So a few years later, I was 10 years old, and I was supposed to spend 2 weeks in the summer with my dad. And I was a pretty shy kid, didn't really spend a lot of time away from home, so this was pretty tough for me. So a few days into this visit, I'm crying and I'm sad and I want to go home. So I tell my dad, I want to go home, I want to see my mom. And he didn't take that very well. And I called my mom, I was like, can you come get me? And he was so angry, and I understand, but he was so angry. So he packed my bag, he threw it in the driveway, and that was it. And I waited in the driveway for my mom to come get me. And in that moment, as a 10-year-old girl, I promised myself I would never see him again. I hated him. I didn't want him in my life. So I went home, and then part of me too was thinking, well, maybe he's gonna come get me. Maybe something will change. Maybe this is gonna be different. And he called a couple of times, but that was it. I was devastated. He didn't fight for me. He didn't want me. He didn't come for me. And 11 years went by that I didn't see my dad. So that's a little bit of my story. A story growing up, my formative years as a girl, I didn't have a dad in my life. Maybe some of you guys can relate to that and what that looks like. When it comes to living life beyond the likes and living knowing our value, we don't really talk about the role of a dad in our lives, but it's such a big deal. It's such a powerful voice in our lives when it's not there. They play a huge role. And if you can relate to my story in any way, you know exactly what I'm talking about right now. And I was kind of researching this a little bit, and the Census Bureau said that 23% of people 18 and under live in a home without their father. That's millions and millions of people under 18. So I'm guessing, again, that maybe even just one of you, know what I'm talking about. So I want to encourage you with a few things that I've learned growing up without my dad in my life and how I've found value without his voice there. The first thing that I want you guys to remember is what you don't have, it doesn't change your value. You know, it's so easy for us to just live with labels, right? You're fatherless, daddy issues, abandoned, unwanted, fat, ugly, too much, not enough, right? We walk around with these labels on ourselves. And whether it's divorce or death or prison or anything else that might have separated you from a father in your life, I want to tell you something. You are valuable with or without that voice in your life. You are you with or without a dad in your life. I'm valuable even though I didn't have my dad growing up. And that was such a hard thing for me to understand and grow into. And maybe you're here right now and you have an incredible dad who's super awesome and loves you and tells you you're beautiful and takes you like on dad-daughter dates. If that's you, go home and hug your dad because he has such a powerful voice in your life, and that is incredible, whether he realizes it or not or whether you realize it or not. And you know, this idea of not being defined by what you don't have, that what you don't have doesn't change your value, it goes beyond this. Maybe you don't have a boyfriend. You're still valuable. Maybe you don't have the coolest clothes. You're still valuable. Maybe you don't have like the right shoes or a car or a fancy car or a lot of money or a fancy house or anything like that. You're still valuable. What you don't have does not change your value. And I want you to hide that in your heart. You're not defined by what you don't have. The second thing I want you guys to remember is don't try to fill what's missing with what's going to make it worse. You know, when we're walking around and we just don't feel valuable or we don't feel loved or we don't feel beautiful, we want to feel that. And that's normal and that's not wrong. I think we're all wired that way. We want to be loved and we want to be liked and we want to be valuable. But so often we try to fill that with the wrong things. And that's my story. I had a huge gap in my life that I wanted to fill, but I didn't realize what I was doing at the time. I was reading this article in Psychology Today about daughters that didn't have dads in their lives. And it had this like long list of things that girls like me experience. Things like self-esteem issues, promiscuity, greater risk of abuse in future relationships, impact on future relationships. You're willing to settle and lower your standards. You have trust and anxiety issues, and you deal with drug or alcohol abuse. I read that and I was like, awesome, thanks a lot. Thanks for the encouragement and the ego boost. And it was a little bit annoying, but I didn't need to read that article to know that those things were true because that's my story. I cared so much, and I cared so much especially what a boy thought of me. And when I was younger, it started off with I just wanted to be friends with the guys. I wanted to hang. I wanted to be cool. I wanted to fit in with them. But when I got a little bit older, that changed. I wanted them to like me. I wanted them to say that I was valuable and beautiful. And I learned pretty quick, if you dress a certain way, you act a certain way, maybe you drink a little bit more, you can get that attention, right? You put yourself in these situations where you compromise who you are, and that was me. I just thought, maybe if I go a little bit further, maybe if I do this, maybe if I take another shot, he's gonna want me. But then I just was left feeling the same, empty and dark and the same feelings. He left me. He didn't want me. What did I do wrong? Why doesn't he love me? Why am I not beautiful? And that was my story. And I don't know if any of you are in that place, if that's a road you're on right now, if that's a road you're considering going down, I want you to hear me right now. If we were maybe at coffee, just one-on-one hanging out, what I would say to you is, I've been there. I've been down that road. Please don't go down that road. It's dark down there. It's dangerous down there. I know where that road leads, and it hurts so much. It hurts so much to try to fill what's missing with what's going to make it worse. No person can ever fill that void that I had and that need to be loved. And maybe you have been where I described. Maybe you're there right now, but I want to tell you one final thing that I wish somebody had told me. Your past does not define your future. It's never too late. So often we don't recognize that what we're doing isn't just having fun and messing around. And of course those things are fun in the moment. Of course they are. It would be a lie to say that they weren't. But I can tell you from my experience, it only made it worse. It only made it darker. It only made it hurt more. And maybe you've been listening to my story and you can resonate with this or relate to it. Maybe you're on this path, but I think we can all agree that we're searching for something and we want to be loved and we want to be valued. And if you have a story like mine, there's that void, and we can look to so many places to fill it. And because this is my story, and I want to be honest with you, and I think it would be a mistake for me not to tell you this, but my personal beliefs have shaped my identity. And I am not here to preach to you or try to convert you or anything like that. And in fact, when I was your age, I hated church and Christians and God and all that stuff. But I think it would be a mistake for you not to know that that's a big part of my life, but that's a part of my life I'd love to talk to you about in person. So if you can relate to your parents being divorced, or your dad not being in your life, or not being told that you were beautiful growing up, or valuable, or loved, or if you're looking in all the wrong places to find that, I understand. I've been there, but there is so much hope. You don't have to be defined by that. What has happened in your life up to this point doesn't dictate what lies ahead of you. You know, I said earlier that I didn't see my dad for 11 years, but I want to leave you guys with some hope, because I think that hope is such a powerful thing. When I was 21 years old, I just graduated college, and I decided enough is enough. I had been consumed by hatred for him for 11 years, and it was poison. And I wrote him a letter, and I forgave him. And I remember when we met for dinner the first time, he hadn't seen me since I was a 10-year-old girl, and I was a young woman, and I hadn't seen him in 11 years, and now he's an old man. But there's so much power in that forgiveness and reconciliation. And I'll be real with you that he's in my life now. It's not the healthiest relationship, but you know what's changed? I have. Because I learned that my value isn't in having a dad or not. It's not in what people say about me. It's not in the ebb and flow of how people treat me. I'm valuable because I'm valuable. I'm worth it because I'm worth it. And so are you. What changed is I turned into a strong and confident woman despite my story. And so can you. And to the girls out there right now that are living a story like mine, maybe that's none of you, maybe that's a lot of you, I want you to hear me. I know that it hurts so much not to have your dad around. It hurts so much not to have that positive male influence in your life. It hurts so much to want to be liked and just have that value. It hurts so much maybe to see girls with great dads and have that ache in your heart. But this doesn't change who you are. You are you, and you are valuable. And I want you to remember, and I want you to say to yourselves how important you are, how strong you are, that you are worth it, and you have a place and a future in this world and a great purpose. And I want you to believe that, and I want you to walk out of here and never forget that.
Hi, guys. I feel like I know a few of you in here, so this is awesome. I'm excited to hang with you guys tonight. Can you guys, I'm like really nervous, so it makes me feel better if you guys like say something. So if you can turn to the girl next to you and be like, you're beautiful. Just go. And you are so smart. And dang girl, you look good tonight. Okay, thank you. I feel so much better now. Don't you guys? Oh wow. I do that with my kindergartners. I'll be like, dang, you're smart. And they're like, dang, you're smart, Miss Baker. I'm like, thank you. Keep telling me that. I'll be like, tell me you're listening. I'm listening to you, Miss Baker. And they're like picking their nose. Okay, I realized something tonight, you guys. I am not cool. My other co-speakers are using iPads. I'm using graph paper that I found at my house. So, thank you. If I have to stop and like lean in, you know it's because I write in messy cursive and it's graph paper. Thank you guys for being here tonight. This is so awesome, and that was beautiful. I wish I could sing like that. But I just talk. My dad called me duct tape growing up because I would not stop talking. So if I need to stop, start giving me the hand. Noah will. He'll start giving me the hand. I don't feel like anything super profound or steps to make your life better. But what I'm going to share tonight with you guys is a story from my life and hopefully give you a little hope and help you realize, this is what I tell myself all the time, it's okay to not be okay. Tell the person next to you, it's okay to not be okay. I have you guys do that. One, because I don't know about you guys, but my last week was ruined and rocked. I started watching a new Netflix show, and I'm sure you guys watch Netflix shows, but I had heard about this show, 13 Reasons Why. I was like, wow, like, what's the big hype? Like, I should probably watch this show, and I love Netflix, and I have a new baby, so I have so much going on that I started watching. And guys, to be so real, I'm sure you guys have read the Facebook message or whatever, the older people posting on Facebook, but my heart was broken. And not because of maybe why you think, but because that girl needed someone to look at her and say, hey, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay for your day to be really terrible today, and you're gonna go through terrible things in your life, and it's gonna be hard, and it's okay to not be okay. That's what I think, like if I could have been there if I would have been in that school, I think that's what I would have wanted to hear. That's what I needed to hear at different points in my life. So I'm going to share a story. And some of you might know my story. I met some sweet girl tonight. Where is she? She's just singing. She's like, I am Lola's biggest Instagram follower. And you guys will meet Lola later. She's my daughter. But I'm like, this is crazy. Like, people know about you and you don't even know them. But my first daughter, her name is Nellie Mae Goodness Baker. And she was born on March 18th of last year. When she was born, she was already in heaven. I did not get to hold her. I did not get to feed her. I did not get to love on her in my own house. We had about, 3 hours with her before the nurses took her away, and that was it. That was my time with my daughter before we ended up burying her and putting her in the ground. This is deep. Like I know you guys are eating candy and you got henna tattoos, and I'm just going to tell a deep story. And hopefully it can touch your heart. I'm going to tell you guys, that moment for my husband and I was the worst moment of my life. There's been other ones that were bad, like definitely bad. And I know this isn't a super relatable topic for a lot of girls that don't have kids, you don't have husbands. But I know that in my life I hit that dark spot at other points. When I was in high school, I had a boyfriend that was just a terrible, trashy dude. Terrible dude. And he was in college, and he decided that my body was his, even if I didn't want it to be, and he made a big decision for me. You probably know what I mean by that. And so that was a dark moment in my life. That was a dark, dark moment. And I had feelings, just like I had feelings after Nellie, where just like that girl in that video did, I had feelings that my life was dark. And I would have been okay. I used to just lay there and be like, God, like, I would be okay if I got hit by a car today. I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay if, like, I got poisoned somehow. I don't know how that would happen. I'm a wimpy person, so physical harm wasn't something I was thinking about. But I want to share this with you guys because I want you to know it's okay to not be okay. I think this is something that's not spoken about, and so we hide it. And you kind of think when you're in that dark place that no one else has ever felt like that in the history of the world. And I'm here to tell you that I've felt like that. That I've felt like there's a bunch of pills in my cupboard, and if David wouldn't know, like I could just go in there and I could wake up with Nellie in heaven. Like that would be a great thing for me. And so I walked in this season for a while, and I kept walking in it, and I wasn't sharing it with anybody around me, because when you go through grief, everyone is really soft around you, which is the most beautiful thing, and they're so kind, and they're asking you how you're doing, and their lives look so perfect, so you don't want to be like, well, today I didn't want to live. You know, like that's not something you want to share with your friends as you're having coffee or a glass of wine in my case, but that was where I was at. And so Mother's Day came, which was just about 4 or 5 weeks after Nellie had passed away, and as you can imagine, Mother's Day is going to be the worst day in the whole world. And David and I go to dinner, and I'm sitting at dinner, and I remember looking at him and him being like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, I really wanted to get hit by a car today. Like, I really wanted something to happen so that I could spend Mother's Day with Nellie. And he's like, and that was the first time I had voiced it. And he looks at me, he's like, "Hey, whoa, I love you. Like, lean in. Like, I can hold you up through this. I can help you through this." And that's something I learned in that moment, is you have to find somebody. When I was watching that show, I just wanted that poor girl to have someone to find that she could lean into. And it might not be your best friend. It might not be your mom. It might just be someone in your school that you know cares a lot. It might be someone else's mom. But you need to find someone that you can lean in during those feelings, because it's okay. Those feelings, it's okay to not be okay, right? Those feelings will happen, but it's not okay to not share them with somebody. So there's me, like, super darkness, struggling through my days, missing my daughter, wondering, like, when the heck is this gonna get light? Like, when is this going to get easier? When is this gonna get lighter? When can I, like, take a breath and feel comfortable? And for me, that didn't happen for a while. I'm not gonna lie. It's one of those scenes. I know we'll talk about this later, and I absolutely love it. But in life, there's scenes. Like, think of, like, someone yell out a movie or a show. Grey's Anatomy. Okay. There are so many dark moments in that show, I can't even choose one if you've watched it. But there's always something good that happens. Meredith's, like, having a baby, and there's a storm, and the lights go out, and she can't, like, it's terrible, but then the baby comes and everything's fine, right? Or, even Disney movies. Goodness, there's, like, something terrible. What? I haven't seen that. Tangled, like, that poor girl, her life is tough, and then it gets better, right? And so that's what I want to encourage you guys with. And that's what I wish I could talk to that girl in that book, in that show, is like, hey, there will be light. Like, and I know that sounds terrible, and as adults, we suck at agreeing with your guys' emotions. Like, I apologize for all of us, because your feelings are so real, and the things you feel are so honest and so true. And that breakup did hurt, and it hurt bad. Or that friend that blew you off, that did hurt, and that hurt bad. Just because it's not the same as mine or as your friends doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. And I want you to know that. I want you to know that your feelings are so incredibly valuable to me and to know, like, to all of these people here and to your friends. And don't feel like they're not, okay? In those moments, they matter, and your feelings matter so much, no matter what other generations tell you. Light will come, okay? I promise you, the scene will change. It always does. And I believe that so wholeheartedly. One, I had that trashy situation happen in high school. I don't talk about it very much, but now I have a smoking hot husband. Like, imagine if I had just been done with my life then. I would have never known David. I would have never known the redemption that could have come in my life. And imagine, you guys, imagine if that Mother's Day, last Mother's Day, I had gone home and I had taken all those pills in my medicine cabinet. Okay? Hello, right? Lola is now my favorite person in the whole world. The scene will change. You know something? You want to preach it? The scene will change, I promise. I promise. See, she agrees. The scene will change, and so please, hang in there. If you need help with this scene that you're in, reach out, lean in. Right, Lo? Lean in, okay? Find someone. Okay, we might need to. Woo! No, I think we're good now. Find someone to lean into, and here's the thing. When you hit that darkness, know that it is true and that it is real and those feelings are real. And if you need to be reminded that there is light, go look at my Instagram, because she blows it up, okay? There is light and it will come. Don't make a decision today that will take that chance and that scene from you later. Because that is the most heartbreaking thing that could happen. We love you too much, and someday, it might not feel like right now, but it will get better, I promise. And gosh, I'm gonna get emotional. And it will be good. Thank you, guys. Oh, and here's a video is going to show now.
Hi, my name is Tilly. I'm 16. I'm from Australia.
My name is Rebecca. I'm 20 years old and I'm from Kalispell, Montana.
I'm Kayla. I'm 21 years old and I'm from Chicago.
So one day I was on YouTube and I came across this video called What Every 8th Grade Girl Needs to Hear by Couser.
In middle school I was a pretty typical kid, not really sure of who I was or who my friends were or how I should act or how I should dress or just really anything, and I was unsure of myself going into high school and all those similar things and what to expect each day in a totally new place, and Noah's talk really gave me some good ground to go off of with my values and who I wanted to be and to choose wisely who I wanted to surround myself with.
One thing I used to struggle with before I saw this video was my self-worth and how I looked at myself. It wasn't a very positive attitude towards myself.
My parents had been divorced and I kind of was just in a more unique family setting, so I didn't really understand completely what a healthy relationship looked like. I remember thinking, like, relationships don't matter. Like, you can just date someone and choose to date someone else the next day. Like, it's in and out the window, no one's gonna see it again, it's no big deal, there are no effects after that relationship has ended. And along with that, I also thought like a relationship meant you had to kiss your boyfriend or whatever else, or have sex with them, and that was just something that kind of went along with it all.
You've personally helped me through a lot of anxiety, and I just want to say thank you for that, because like my friends were there, my family were there, but this video, it just reassures me that I don't need physical beauty. My personality is all the beauty I need.
I was suffering a lot of body image issues, trying to fit in with my friends, social category, social class, and it was all really hard on me. I didn't know what to do. I was doing things I didn't like doing just because I felt like I needed to.
For me, these videos have served as a guidance. You know how when you're young, you make mistakes, and that's because you feel like you're the smartest person alive and you can't do any wrong. But obviously you're mistaken, and sooner or later you do realize that. And when you realize that, at that point you're filled with guilt and you need some kind of guidance, something to, save you, to get you back on the track, something to give you courage. And for me, these videos have served that purpose. They have given me a lot of courage, and they have reminded me of the things that I had long forgotten.
You have to look past what you're going through. You have to look past the pain, the hurt, and the tears, and all the negative people in your lives. You have to look past all of that and try to see into the future, try to see what your life could be.
Be a leader, not a follower, and don't fall into peer pressure.
Value yourself enough to not let anyone take advantage of you and to make the right choices, and to also put the best people that you can in your life, people that you want to look up to, that do the right things, that will make you proud of yourself.
I had more confidence in myself, and when I went to school, I didn't have to change how I dress or how I feel or the way I act to make other people like me.
He has taught me that I matter, and that the decisions I make in life matter, and the people I surround myself with in life matter.
I needed someone to tell me I'm a confident person. I can set boundaries for myself. I can tell someone no.
You have made me feel a lot more beautiful about myself, and that is shown with my confidence. And I can't thank anyone but you.
I'm not beautiful just because of my looks, about how my little quirks and my confidence and my intelligence that makes me special, and that's not the same from what society wants me to be, because why be like that?
His message is just one that has so much truth in it when we so often forget that truth. Like, it's a simple message, but it's something that we fight to remember because the world tells us so many other things about our worth and who we are and our value and our beauty. It's so easy to think like, oh, I have value if a guy likes me, or I am beautiful so that I can attract men, or something like that, where that's not all where he was coming from. He was coming from, you're beautiful because you have value and worth as a human being, and just speaking those truths, and that was just really powerful.
Just because the world says that we have to give it away and that we're not as priceless as we actually are. Like, the world's opinion doesn't matter because you are priceless and you're so valued.
It changed my perspective so much. I became the girl who I always wanted to be, who I was, and I'm so much happier, and I can't thank Noah enough for the video he made, and I hope everyone watches it because it really is life-changing, and thank you.
I have a hard time watching that video and not getting a little choked up. First of all, I just want to say it's an honor to be here. It's an honor that there's actually people here. We talked about this event for like 2 months, and we were like, is anybody going to actually come to this thing? And you did, so we're so thankful that you're here. Can you give another humongous round of applause to Courtney and Amanda and these amazing voices up here who are playing some music? Holy smokes. That's a tough act to follow. I'm thankful that you're here. And I will tell you honestly, I was pretty heartbroken when I was told that I couldn't give this talk at my school, which many of you in here got when you were in 8th grade, mainly because it's become such like a part of my life and almost my identity. Like, random people in the grocery store will be like, hey, you're that guy who does that girls talk. And I'm like, yeah. I don't really know where to go from that, like high five? Should we high five it? I mean, I don't know. But just getting messages and getting emails and getting anonymous messages from Pakistan, from somebody who lives in a culture who is oppressed as a gender, it's been one of the greatest joys of my life. And so I'll tell you, I was a little heartbroken when I was told I couldn't give that at my school, but I don't know if you know this about life. Sometimes when it doesn't work out the way that you thought it should go and the way that you planned it, sometimes it turns out to be even cooler. And I'm just pinching myself that I'm in front of 500 people here at Glacier High School on a Thursday night. Yeah, come on. And I don't have a whole lot of jokes or kind of like icebreakers. I feel like the ice is broken. I just kind of got some stuff I want to talk about and just basically change the rest of your life for the positive. So just minor things, no big deal. I want you to know that we are all, whether you're 15 or whether you're 50 in here, we are all building our futures with the decisions that we're making right now. Every single one of us. For the good or for the bad. And I believe there's something in here for everybody, whether you're a parent and you drug your kid here to this, thank you for bringing them, or whether you're 16 and you just showed up with some of your friends, I think there's something in here for all of you. I have some thoughts to share circulating around this idea of living life beyond the likes. Living life beyond simply just the approval and the acceptance of others, which can be such just a nagging desire of our lives. Of living life how it's truly meant to be lived rather than just for the approval of other people. And I just want to come out and say that if you're going to try to do this, you're in an uphill battle. We live in a culture of comparison. Every social media platform that exists on the planet is designed to compare you to other people and likes and comments and shares and, and pitting you against other people. And as you scroll through your feeds, it can be really difficult to find satisfaction in yourself and your life. It's an uphill battle. You live in a culture where you're inundated daily with images and messages, videos and billboards that tell you how you should think, how you should look, how you should act, how you should flirt, how you should date, how you should behave. Constantly makes you second guess your individuality and your own uniqueness, making you try to fit into a mold or making you try to fit into a standard that's not necessarily you. And the first thing that I need you to understand, that you need you to understand if you're going to live life beyond the likes, everybody say first. Everybody say first. This is it right here. I'm not doing any speaker tricks and saving it to the end. This is it right here. So if you've been Snapchatting this whole time, balcony up in there, okay? I just want you to leave with this. If you're going to live life beyond the likes, you need to learn to love yourself. You need to learn to love yourself. Now, half of you just rolled your eyes at me because you're like, okay, I know exactly where he's going with this. We need to draw little hearts on sticky notes and hang it by our mirror, and we need to hug ourselves, and every time we pass our reflection in a mirror or a puddle on the ground, we need to blow a kiss. Blah, 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 blah. Come up with something better, Couser. No. Back up. Give me a chance here. You need to learn to love yourself. And there's a big difference between like and love. And it's not just a different thing that you click on Facebook. There's a big difference between like and love. And I think a lot of us have that messed up. Like is based on an attraction. It's based on a feeling. It's based on an emotion. So if that feeling or that emotion or that attraction changes, then you don't like them anymore. And we think in our culture that love just means, like, if you're going to love somebody, that just means that you really, 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 really like them. Like, there's got to be like 6 reallys in front of it in order for it to be love. And then it's really true love. And then, nothing can stop you. Turn to your neighbor and say, false. Love is not just a stronger version of like. And if that's what you think it is, I'm here to mess you up in the best possible way for the rest of your life. Love is not a like. It's not an attraction. It's not a feeling. It's not an emotion. Love is a choice. Love is a devotion. Love is a dedication to that person. It's a decision. And so when I say you need to love yourself, I'm not saying you need to like yourself more. I'm saying you need to commit. You need to be devoted to that person that you brought here with you tonight that looks you back in the mirror every time you stare at her. You need to be committed to loving her and caring for her and building her up and encouraging her if we want to live this life beyond simply the approval of other people. You got to learn to love yourself. And what you need to know, and maybe you already know this, love is a knock-down, drag-out fight every single day. Any parents in the house would be like, I know, I know. I've only been a parent for like just over 365 days, and I will tell you, love means that you care for a person even when you don't feel like it, even when they don't deserve it. Even when they're crying in their crib for no reason at 3 a.m, you love that person. You're committed to that person. And that's the type of commitment, that's the type of dedication, that's the type of devotion that you need to have for that girl that you brought with you here tonight that stares back at you in the mirror. Somewhere along the line in your life, I believe you stop loving yourself. You stop becoming your biggest cheerleader and you start becoming your own harshest critic. I've told this story before, but I think it was about a year ago we had some friends over, and this was before we had, about a year and a half ago, before we had Caleb, our son. And they had a 3-year-old daughter. And we were in the living room chatting, and she was in our foyer there right before we leave the house. There's this giant mirror because my wife needs to be able to see her shoes when she leaves. You guys know, I don't understand. I still don't understand why we need a giant mirror that you can see your entire body in. But you guys know. You're all nodding. You're like, just leave the mirror alone, Couser. It's all good. She's standing in front of this mirror, and she's got high heels on. She's got a tutu and a tiara, just a casual Tuesday. This 3-year-old, not my wife, okay? And she's standing in the mirror, and I will never forget this. I look over from the living room, and she's standing in the mirror for a good 90 minutes. And she is just enamored with the girl that she is staring at, and she is spinning and watching her tutu spin, and she is blowing kisses. She even put lip prints on our mirror because she was kissing that girl that she was looking at. And something inside of me when I saw that just kind of broke. Because I started thinking, at what point in time in her life will she stop doing that? Will she start avoiding those mirrors? Will she start seeing herself, and instead of blowing a kiss, she throws a cutting remark in her head or says, "Why aren't you skinnier? Why aren't you prettier? Why does your hair do that thing?" And it hurt me because that's the story for so many of you. Now, in order to prove my point and drive this home a little bit, I just want you to humor me for a second. I got a microphone, so you got to kind of listen to me, so you don't really have a choice. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. I want you to pretend this is actual reality, okay? So I want you to, you're putting on your VR goggles here. You're like, this is your actual experience. Just for a minute. I want you to block out other distractions or other thoughts for a second. And I want you to really imagine what I'm about to say is your reality. Imagine you are in love with yourself, the committed kind of love, that would do anything for yourself at any point in time to help her out kind of love. The type of love where you would do anything to support yourself. You not only appreciate the way you look, but you actively seek out cute, unique tendencies that make you different from the other 3.5 billion women on the planet. And every time you discover something new or unique about yourself, you celebrate that difference with a giant smile that stretches from ear to ear, that shows all of your teeth. Practice it right now. Nobody's looking. Just practice. Throw it out. Let me see those pearly whites. I can see you. Nobody else can. And some of y'all aren't doing it. You're not doing it. I'm going to wait. I can wait. I can wait. I'm looking. I'm looking in the back. Okay. You constantly are cheering yourself on in the challenges of your day, building up your confidence, holding yourself up in the highest value. You love yourself so much that you are ridiculously cautious who you let close to you, who you allow, and what you allow yourself to do on Friday night, and what messages you allow through your precious little ears. This love for yourself spills out onto all the girls around you in your life, and even some strangers. Your smile, your hugs, your compliments are so freely given to girls around you that it compels them to love themselves more simply because they interact with you every single day. Now, some of you, for the first time in your entire life, even though this was pretend, actually got a taste of what this life beyond the likes could be like. Sure, is it idealistic? Of course. Far-fetched? You betcha. But am I really that crazy? You can open your eyes now. Am I really that crazy to believe that if we had that kind of love for ourselves, we'd have less teens cutting, we'd have less people throwing themselves around in dating relationships like they're prostitutes rather than the princesses that they are? We'd have less people in our schools eating lunch by themselves, outcasted, downtrodden with their head to the table, just hoping, just praying that somebody would care enough to come and sit next to them. If we practiced this kind of love, we wouldn't experience all of the side effects of the disease of this lack of self-love. Side effects like suicide. Side effects like partying and drug and alcohol abuse. Side effects like obsessive dating. Side effects like never taking a risk, never taking a chance, never putting yourself out there for the fear of failing. And many health professionals like myself try to treat all of those symptoms, all of those side effects, but I am certain that it's all rooted to this one disease of not loving yourself, not being committed to that girl you brought with you. That girl who is constantly in your head 24/7, 365 days a year. When we work to fix her insecurity, when we work to teach her how to love you, even when she doesn't feel like it, your life becomes so much sweeter. And if you want to improve your level of love and acceptance for yourself, which, by the way, is some of the best marriage and relationship and parenting advice I could ever give you, start practicing now. The level of love that you have for yourself, what, you think that you're not going to love yourself, you're going to hate on yourself, but then someday you're going to love a screaming baby completely? You're going to be in a marriage relationship, and you're going to love this person even when they snore? Even when they don't put stuff away in the kitchen correctly? Even when they leave their shoes on the carpet? Some of the best advice I could give you for relationships is start practicing that love and that commitment with yourself. Because loving somebody is a choice. It's a dedication, even when you don't like them. Even when they do something to let you down. If you want to improve your level of self-love, you need to stop doing these three things. Turn to your neighbor and say, you need to stop doing this. First, everybody say first. You need to stop comparing yourself to other people. Comparison kills contentment. Can I get an amen in the house, please? Stop comparing yourself to other people. My goodness. And you're like, okay, well, I've heard that before. What does that look like practically? You're not going to like this. It means spending less time on social media. I didn't make this up. This isn't just like you're like, your parents told you to tell me that, didn't they? Statistically, studies have shown people that spend more time on social media are less satisfied with their own life. Anybody in here want to be less satisfied with your own life? Just miserable. You want to be just terribly unhappy every day of your sad life. Okay. Then do this. Leave here. Put this into practice. Spend less time on social media. Spend more time being grateful that you got shoes on your feet, that you had a car that got you here, and yeah, it took you 3 tries to start it, but it got you here, okay? Start looking for things that you can be positive with about yourself rather than comparing with what you don't have. Spend less time on social media and then start catching yourself in the act of comparing yourself to other people, because you do it all the time. And when you do it, I want you to catch yourself. I want you to catch your tongue inside your head. Most of us talk to ourselves inside our head. I heard 6,000 times a day. Most of us in our head, some of us out loud, and that's cool. But catch yourself. And when you do, I want you to sing this stupid little song I heard on this kid's radio, because now we have a kid, so we listen to kids' radio. It drives me nuts, but it's good for him, I guess. I digress. I'm just venting. The song goes like this, and you need to sing this. This is your homework leaving here. If you start comparing yourself to somebody else, you're going to catch yourself, and you're going to sing this stupid little song. You might have heard it. It goes, I like myself as you can see. There's nobody else in the world like me. You ever heard that song? Anybody? Anybody ever a child? Ever, once, never, okay? Apparently not. Apparently that missed this generation, but you're going to repeat after me. I like myself as you can see. There's nobody else in the world like me. You gotta get it, okay? Now, here's the thing. Stupid song. It will annoy you for the rest of your life. Thank you. You're welcome, okay? Silly song, I know. But that song could preach right there. Because I know there's a girl sitting in here tonight who doesn't recognize that she is one of 3.5 billion on the planet right now. She is an individual. She is unique. She is special. She is valuable. Just being you. Yeah, you might be a little weird, but that makes you different from the person next to you and the person behind you and the person up there and the person that lives in a different state. And you need to celebrate that rather than trying to change that. So when you sing that stupid little song, I want you to remember, you are valuable. You are one of a kind. Turn to your neighbor and say, girl, you better remember that. Second thing you got to stop doing. Besides not comparing yourself to other people. If you want to love yourself more, you got to stop comparing yourself to other people. Second, you need to stop putting your value in other people's hands. Stop putting your value in other people's hands. And you do this in a few different ways, mostly in relationships. A lot of times you'll do this with friends. And you'll put your value in their hands. Meaning, if you show up to lunch and you spent like an hour and a half on your hair and your eyelashes and those little fake ones that go on, I don't even know how that works, but they like glue or something, okay? You're just waiting. You're waiting for somebody to notice. And they don't. Or maybe they make fun of it. Maybe they say you did a terrible job. And what happens is you leave thinking you're less valuable. You leave thinking maybe they're right. Maybe in dating relationships, you think, well, okay, if they're going to tell me that I'm beautiful, then it really must be true. But if they make fun of me, or they spread rumors about me, or they say mean things about me, or they don't ask me to prom, or they don't do this or that, then I'm really not beautiful. I'm really not as valuable as that other person. And that is absolute trash. That's trash. Stop putting your value into other people's hands. That should come from within. That should come from inside of you rather than outside of you. Turn to your neighbor and say, that's true too. I feel like he's reading my mind. Third thing you need to stop doing. You need to stop comparing yourself to other people. You need to stop putting your value in other people's hands. Third, you need to stop the negative tape playing inside of your head. Some of you in here are your own worst enemy. You don't need bullies. You don't need mean girls. You got one right in between your ears. I told you 6,000 times a day you talk to yourself. 6,000 times a day, some of you tear yourself down. You second guess yourself. I want you to get back on your own team, because that's what love is. That's what love does. That's a commitment that you need to make up here, upstairs in your head. Start changing those tapes up in your head. Start saying some positive things rather than negative. And this could be as simple as 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, just saying some positive things, thinking some positive thoughts, getting ready for your day, rather than saying, that doesn't look good on you, rather picking yourself up. Rather than constantly tearing yourself down. Instead of doing those things, instead of comparing yourself to other people and putting your value in other people's hands and negatively talking to yourself, start surrounding yourself with people who love you for you. Start surrounding yourself with people who love and appreciate you for the person that you are. Start speaking positivity over yourself and the people around you. I love that Courtney had you turn to your neighbor and say, you're beautiful and dang girl, you look good. But how many times a day does that actually happen and you actually mean it? Hopefully a lot, but in my school, I don't see that happen a lot. Especially with girls. Man, y'all are mean. Guys are weird girls are just mean in middle school, man. They just like slice each other. It's just like razor, it's just, you should be picking each other up rather than being the reason that they don't feel good about themselves is because what you said about them. Because you don't feel good about yourself in the beginning, so why don't you help each other out and start picking each other up and speaking a little positivity over the people around you? And start helping other people. One of the greatest ways to love yourself and appreciate yourself is to take your eyes off of yourself and your pain and your own mistakes and look to help other people. That's been one of the greatest realizations in my life, and one of the coolest things about this event and what I've been doing is being able to help other people. I can tell you there is no greater feeling on this planet than knowing that somebody else's life is better because you are alive. And you can have that, every single one of you. You don't need a microphone for that. You don't need a YouTube channel for that. You don't need a room full of people for that. There are people in your school, people in your community, people in your home that need you desperately. Your love, your compassion, your kindness, your smiles, your hugs can go so far in picking other people up. And side benefit, it makes you feel so good about yourself. But so many times we don't do that. We go the opposite route. And if I step on you and if I cut you down and if I make fun of you, then I feel a little bit taller about myself. I feel a little bit better. It's so much more fun. It's so much better to go the other way and to help people and to love on people. I'm telling you, those things could absolutely, ridiculously, radically change the way that you love yourself. And some of you are like, Noah, I know I don't love myself very much. You got it. You hit the nail on the head there, Mr. Speaker guy. But it doesn't matter because I'm going to find somebody someday. I'm going to find the one. I'm going to find my true love, and they are going to love me in all of the ways that I didn't love myself. Turn to your neighbor and say, false. If you don't love yourself and you don't appreciate yourself, no relationship, no marriage, no boyfriend, no dating relationship, no hookup, nothing is ever going to fill that void if you don't start doing that for yourself. We focus so much in our culture on finding the one, and every stinking romantic comedy you have ever seen has sold you that lie, that there is one perfect person who is going to fix all of your insecurities, and they're just gonna, no, that's trash, okay? That's trash. We need to not focus on finding the right person. We need to focus on being the right person. And then everything else gets a lot simpler. Is there an echo? Here's the thing about this. Some of you spend 12 hours a week at dance, and you're amazing at dance. Or maybe you're an amazing singer, maybe you're amazing on the piano, or maybe you are just a killer soccer player, and you practice, 10, 15 hours a week with games, travel? How much time do you spend practicing loving yourself better? What's more important, your soccer stats, your cello performance, or the fact that you love and appreciate the girl that you've got to spend the next 60 to 70 years with? So if you want to get better at something, start practicing. Turn to your neighbor and say, you need to start practicing. I think you're behind. Second thing, not only do you need to love yourself, do you need to love yourself more? I told you that was the first. Everybody say first. I told you that was first and foremost. But second thing, and this is kind of like a side note, I'm just going to slip this in. I'm going to go a little bit faster because I know I'm slowing down. We're going to move this along. Second, you need to appreciate every scene. It's on your little card there. We gave them to you if you're like a visual learner and you're like, oh, that's pretty neat. You need to appreciate every scene. Our culture is obsessed with stories. Stories. Everybody say stories. Our culture is obsessed with stories. We got Instagram stories. We got Snapchat stories. Some of you for days, it's like, good night. What are you recording everything that happens in your entire life? And now even Facebook's got stories. We got stories coming out our ears. But here's the thing about those. Those aren't stories. Those aren't stories. Those are scenes. Snapshots of your life. And what happens is we begin to confuse our story with our scene, because some of you right now are going through a scene right now. Maybe your scene is middle school. Maybe your scene is single parenthood. Maybe your scene is bullying. Maybe your scene is sophomore year and it sucks. Maybe your scene is loneliness. Maybe it's depression. Maybe you have 13 reasons why your life sucks right now, why it's so difficult. And some of you are doing yourself a disservice because you're hating on the whole story just because you don't like your scene. And like Courtney did such a great job of explaining, is that a scene is temporary. A scene will end. A scene will move on. And right now, maybe your scene is dark. And I know I'm not trying to say that you don't have pain in your life. I'm not trying to say that what you're going through is not real and is not painful, because I know that there are stories in this room. There are scenes in this room so dark and so difficult and so sad that it would shock all of us if you explain the details of your scene. I'm not saying that you don't have the right to be sad. One of the greatest curses as a teacher is getting to know and understand the lives which so many of you lead outside of school, and the difficulty and the death and the divorce and the heartache and the breakup and the bullying and the self-esteem issues and the cutting and the self-mutilation and the thoughts of suicide that just consume so many of your scenes right now. It's depressing. It's one of the worst things about my job. But I need to let you know one thing that I hope changes your perspective. Maybe you're going through one of those scenes right now, and I just kind of hit that nerve right now, and it's kind of like triggering those tears in the back of your eyes right now, because you're like, oh great, I got to think about this again, and I got to go home to this. Thank you for bringing this up. I was hoping this was going to pick me up. But I'm going to tell you something that I want it to change your perspective. You don't get to control the scenes in your life, but you do get to control how you respond to them. You don't get to control the scenes that happen in your life often. You don't get to control the fact that they left. You don't get to control the fact that they divorced. You don't get to control the fact that they dumped you, or they cheated on you, or they said so many bad things about you. But you do get to control how you respond. And I'm here on this stage tonight telling you that in my life, I have not ever gotten any stronger from the sunny days in my life. But when those storm clouds roll in, and when you get that text at 2 a.m. that one of your best friends was just killed in an avalanche, or when you hear about a student who took their life, or you hear about something that's going on, those are the times in your life when you make a choice, you make a decision. Because you could live the rest of your life with that victim mentality, and you could live the rest of your life sad and depressed that they left or that they hurt you, and frankly, you'd be justified in that. But how much better to look the storm in the eye and say, you know what? I'm going to leave here with something. I'm going to learn something. I'm going to get a little bit stronger from this happening in my life. And I guarantee you, if you're going through a scene right now, you're going to look back 10, maybe 15, maybe 20 years from now, and you're going to see that moment as a defining period of your life when you got so much stronger, you developed character, and here's the best part, you get to help other people with the worst moments in your life. The worst things that you have gone through, you get to use those. Somebody is waiting to hear your story. Shoot, maybe it's your daughter someday. Maybe it's your son someday. Parents in here who haven't shared about your story and the things and the storms that you've gone through, that is valuable information. Somebody is waiting to hear your story. And what I'm here to tell you tonight is don't stop your story just because you don't like the scene. Because we need your story. This world needs your story. This world needs you. You are unique. You are valuable. You are worth it. Please hear me. One of the quotes from that show that I thought was so telling. Hannah Baker said, "Sometimes I wish there was a button you could push and fast forward all the crappy stages of life and just get to the good parts." And we've all felt that. I have felt that. I have wished that. I have prayed for that with tears streaming down my face. But I'm here to tell you tonight, that would be a mistake. Because that storm is there to teach you something. That storm is there to help you. That storm is going to give you something. If you let it, if you take one on the chin and you leave there stronger and you leave there better. Don't stop your story just because you don't like your scene, and you do not need to do this alone. Please find people. There are so many people in this room that love you and that care for you. Even if you utilize us, that's why we put our social media information on there. I can't tell you how many young people I have helped plug into resources or counseling or other things like that, because sometimes it's often just one person that you can reach out to. Don't stop your story just because you don't like your scene. And could I just take a second, I know this is going out on YouTube, but for our Kalispell folks in here, could we just make a commitment as a community to reach out a helping hand to people that are hurting, to people that are cutting, to people that are sad and down and depressed, and look to reach out to those people? Can we leave here, all of us, every single one of us, making that decision? I don't care if that's in your school, I don't care if that's in your home, I don't care if that's people that you know or people that you don't know. Because when you live life beyond the likes, you stop caring who you sit with at lunch. You stop caring who you sit with at lunch, or who likes your selfie on Instagram, or who says something about you. You start caring more about other people. Because that's one of the greatest things you can do in life, is to not only love yourself, but to love other people. I got one last point. You guys want to hear it? Yes. That was not enthusiastic at all. You're like, just give us more candy. Do you have any more chocolate gift cards? Can we just get out of here? Okay. I got one last point, and I can think of no better person on the entire planet to tell you this than my beautiful wife, Megan. Please welcome her to the stage.
All right, so all of us, no matter what our life looks like today, we all have pasts that we may wish we could change. We have things that we did wrong, that we made mistakes, that we hurt someone's feelings, we dated someone we shouldn't have, things like that. But I want to just come here and say that your past does not define you. And today you can turn and pick a different future. You can make decisions that make your future look different than your past. And specifically, I want to just talk about my growing up a little bit. Young girl in central North Dakota.
Yeah, flat land, beauty.
So I had kind of a unique growing up experience. I actually went to a one-room school until 8th grade. There were 12 kids in my school total and 3 kids in my grade. And yeah, super unique, and it was awesome. But one thing that it was great for, besides like learning how to socialize with more than 10 people and your brothers, it kind of protected me a little bit from the middle school experience. I don't feel like middle school was really traumatic for me because it wasn't really middle school. But going into high school, I knew that I needed to set some goals. I went from a school of 12 people to a school of 1,300 people. And it was a drastic change in 9th grade. And so I did set some goals that would affect really the rest of my life. The first goal that I just want to share with you was a goal for the way that I dressed. And actually this goal was set for me by my dad. He would not allow me to wear shorts or tank tops to school. And at first I was like, this is crazy. It's like 98 degrees in our school. I'm gonna sweat to death and just pass out in algebra. It's not gonna be good. But I made the decision to obey that choice that he had made. And some of you might be in the same place.
Which, by the way, can I just interject? If you have that kind of a crazy dad, maybe he's like hovering in the parking lot right now and he's texting you like, it's almost 8:30, why is this not over? You need to get out here right now, okay? If you have that kind of a dad, please go home and hug him and thank him. You might not appreciate it right now, but you will someday. Please, please, please.
Definitely. So I chose to obey that rule when I went to high school in my pants and my t-shirts, and what it caused was for me to be me, and that wasn't based on what I wore. It was based on who I was, and people got to know the real me because they weren't distracted by how much skin was showing or whatever, how promiscuous I was dressing. So that was a goal that I kept past high school and tried not to allow clothes to define me. I want not to say that you shouldn't wear what you love and that you feel beautiful in, but don't dress so that just your dress is what is attracting people. You want your own person and your value to attract people. Another goal that I set was for drinking and drugs. This was based largely on the honesty of my parents. They shared their stories. They shared the ugly scenes in their past, and it allowed me to see what would happen from some of those decisions without actually having to make those decisions myself, which was amazing. And so I made the decision to not participate in drugs at all and to save drinking until I was 21. And it wasn't something that I hid. It wasn't something that I was ashamed of. I told people. And when I would go to a party to hang out with friends, they just knew I wasn't going to drink. So they didn't really ever pressure me. It was just, Megan doesn't drink. Okay, move on. And again, something that I carried through college and achieved that goal. And also something that helped with that was having a good friend. She actually didn't even go to the same school, but she had the same goal, and we could kind of share and have some accountability in that. And then finally, I set goals for dating and physical relationships. I set a goal really young that I didn't want to have sex until I was married. And it was largely because of events like this, where adults that I knew cared for me shared about the importance of that. Also, again, because of my parents, and they really taught me what the purpose of dating was, that you don't need to just date, to have a boyfriend, to say you have a boyfriend, but dating should really be saved for looking for a spouse, looking for a mate. And so, had boyfriends in later high school and some in college, but more than being physical with them, it was more looking for deep friendships. And I did share, again, my physical boundaries, that I didn't want to, be alone in a room with a guy or making out or anything like that.
She threw down. Okay, she was like, this is okay, this is not okay. She told me that pretty early, right quick. So if you're here being like, well, they might not like me if I say that, good, get them out of there. They're not even worth it. If they don't like you for throwing down your boundaries and your values, then get them out of there. Take them to the curb. Because I will tell you, I had never been in a relationship in my entire life with anybody who took that initiative. And I found that to be ridiculously attractive. And I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. So take that for what you will.
In more looking for deep friendships than looking for boyfriends, I was never desperate to have a boyfriend, just looking for friends. And then one day, this really great friend that I have ended up being the love of my life.
Yeah.
And our relationship was really based on friendship. And when it turned into something more, again, like he said, I was really straightforward and even bold enough to say, hey, if we're actually going to date, there needs to be a possibility that we would get married. And I said that, and it was scary, but I think that it made it have more weight. We weren't just messing around dating for fun, but it was something that meant something to me and was really valuable. So those are 3 areas that I made decisions about really early and stuck with them. And so I just want to encourage you, if your story looks nothing like mine, if it's a mess, it doesn't have to be a mess anymore. You can change it today. You can make decisions today and turn your future into something ridiculously beautiful. And the need to make those decisions isn't going to change. As we age, we have new goals and new decisions that need to be made. For example, we're setting goals for how we want to raise Caleb right now, and working, fighting to achieve those goals. So I just want to encourage all of you that your future can look so different from your past if you'll make those decisions now.
Exactly. And yeah, give it up. Like she said, it's a fight. Love is a fight. It is a commitment. It is a dedication. And I hope you leave here with a new appreciation of that kind of a love that we want you, that you should want for yourself, to love that girl that you're leaving with here tonight. And that's our goal. That's our dream for you. And I need you to know that you will never regret making good decisions. You will never regret setting boundaries. You will never regret spending even just 15 minutes a day working on loving yourself better. You're never going to regret that. Dating with a purpose, choosing good friends around you, loving yourself enough to make the tough decisions now and step into a future that you're stoked on rather than saddened by. I need you to know that the world is waiting. We are all waiting for you to step into your confidence. We're waiting for you to step into this love for yourself, to live your life taking chances and risks and loving yourself and loving other people, to make a difference in this world, in your family, in your community, and in your relationships. I hope and I pray that you take this home, that you make this real for yourself in your life, that you realize that you have incredible value, and that you start living a life of love. Start living life beyond the likes. Thank you guys. We love you. Well, thanks for sticking around to the end. I hope that you found this video was valuable and you took some truth away from it. Big shout out to Courtney and Amanda and my beautiful wife Megan, who joined me on the stage for this powerful event. Please do us a favor and follow us on Instagram for more awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe, and please share this video or come back to it when you need to be reminded just about how valuable you are and how life is meant to be lived, not for the approval of others, but from that value that comes within yourself. Thanks so much.